Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. This needs to happen before we see $50 silver and $2,300 gold. Let's explore! You're probably guessing, well, the price needs to go up. And that is true. That's part of the answer. But there's more to it than that. There are things about the market that are very difficult to time and to predict. If we all had that knowledge and insight, well, we'd be millionaires. I always tell people I'm not a financial advisor, but I do have a crystal ball. One of these days I'm going to show it to you. But regardless, the markets are quite volatile, especially in this day and age. There's a lot of unprecedented activity happening in the markets these days. It makes it even more difficult to predict. But there are trend lines, and there are certain aspects of the market that we can at least have a good idea, especially with technical analysis. I was looking and watched a video by Kitco with an interview with a gentleman who is the co-founder of North Star and Bad Charts, Patrick Kareem, who does some technical analysis. It's quite interesting to see what these trends are that could actually push gold and silver up really fairly dramatically, and what could get us there. And I think, in a sense, it's partly right, because we saw it in a sense last year with the gold hitting its all-time high of over $2,000, and silver more than doubled in price. In fact, silver briefly touched $30 an ounce, and but there is a momentum that could occur where those prices will be driven up much further. Before we get into that, I want to make you aware of another video I posted earlier, and I do like to kind of change things up when I discuss gold and silver. I'm going to put it at the end screen of this video, or perhaps in the comment section or description, about how gold can make silver better. It's pretty interesting, and it relates to both the markets, but also something else, which is quite intriguing. So I hope you will check that out. But nonetheless, it was an interesting interview that was given, and I will actually post a link to this interview as well on this momentum, what this catalyst could be to bring prices up dramatically to near records. Well, definitely a record for gold to $2,300 an ounce, and for silver to go above $28 an ounce. Essentially, what does it have to do there? It's got to be there and close above $28 an ounce, which we've been there relatively recently. But basically what he's saying, based off of some technical analysis, but I think also psychology plays a role here too, as to what could get silver to get to that $50 level. It's within to $48 within 6 months, and probably faster is what he's saying. And I believe it's probably based off of what's been going on, not only geopolitically, but in terms of just the whole instability with the economy, with what the Federal Reserve is doing. How much longer can they just go and do what they're doing without having that big of an effect on inflation? It's going to be very interesting to see where these numbers come, and I believe this is something I'm inserting in there as to what the numbers are going to be for inflation for the next round. Even if they go down, that could drive the prices down. In other words, if inflation falls to 4% or what have you, and doesn't sustain this 5.2 to 5.4%, I believe that slight dip in inflation is transitory, and inflation will continue, and that frustration will continue from the Fed. What more they can do? I guess they can start tapering earlier, perhaps, to kind of pull it back, but by that time it may be too late. But I bet that they are betting on that being the case, and that it will get the economy, or give people that confidence, that consumer confidence anyway, as prices still can maintain that level. But the psychological aspect of it is something that cannot be and should not be ignored. no matter how much technical analysis there is that he has mentioned here, Patrick Kareem has mentioned, because that could be what drives the price to either go way up or maybe just go into a dip that we've seen the doldrums of silver of the summer continue into the fall. But he's saying that if it closes above $28 an ounce, to stay in the sidelines. If it closes above $28, then it's $48 within 6 months, and then faster, and that's going to hit us close to $50 an ounce. And then what is it going to have to be for gold to skyrocket up to $2,300 an ounce? Kind of much the same thing. It needs to hit these price levels that we've seen before, in fact, very recently. In other words, gold needs to hit $1,800 an ounce with sustained momentum above that price. We're very close to $1,800 an ounce now, but to get the momentum, it's going to drive it up. As of the recording of this video right now, the prices are down for both gold and silver. They're pulling back a little bit despite some not so good economic data, which is not horrible, but still it's not having an effect on gold's price. So it'll be very interesting to see where this plays out. But nonetheless, what does that mean? That gold and silver could just continue its upward trajectory, and that could be a game changer in many different aspects and different ways. I'm not necessarily betting on it, but but psychology is a powerful thing, and I could very much see just a couple of bits of news in the cycle that make their way through, as well as economic data, playing a role to where we start to see that momentum build upon each other. And once it starts, it may be difficult to stop. And that is something in the opposite direction that we may have seen over the past week. And we've interviewed Leor Gantz and talked about that, where there's automatic selling that has occurred. Will there be automatic buying on the other end of the spectrum that could help increase this momentum? I don't know, but it's something to consider for sure. So as we continue to watch gold and silver in the metals in the coming weeks, let's see if he's right. If gold were to close above $1,800, which we're very close to that happening now, or silver were to close above $28 and be sustained there, then will we see a ramp up to this $50 an ounce? So this is the closing price and momentum of $28 and $1,800, and then we'll see it ramp up. And that is something that a lot of these analysts believe, and that's why you see whenever prices start to climb again, there are people who are bullish. They are bullish on gold and silver. And when you see a couple of days of sustained growth, they say, well, they make these predictions. Some of them are pretty crazy and pretty wild. I would consider this one of those. I think a lot of things have to fall in line before it hits. But it is an interesting concept to see, but it should not surprise any of us that would be the catalyst. Sustained price and momentum. Sustained price and momentum backing it is kind of the technical analysis 101. And now there's other probably aspects, and he's going to talk about it in that video, but I'm throwing out there some of the other things, such as automatic buying, the psychology, the news cycle, geopolitics, domestic politics, economic data. Those are going to be drivers. And I think those factors, the natural market forces that we are seeing, and by the way, I sort of use that term loosely because, there is manipulation that the Fed is doing, and the Fed's outlook on the Delta variant, for instance, is one thing that's not going to dent the recovery. But you know what? With all these mandates and forced vaccinations and the like, I think it will put a dent on the economy. And there's the supply chain issues that we are continuing to see and that are plaguing us here. Pistol Packing Pilot just did a video about, in his area where there is a lack of groceries. So you're having to stock up. People are being prepared, and it's wise to do so. You never know. And so that kind of thing is driving, I think, a lot of uncertainty in the markets. And I think that's going to eventually affect gold and silver, which many of us are gobsmacked that it's not higher right now. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. And again, I hope you check out the video I posted earlier. I think it's a fascinating topic, how gold can make silver better. And I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch this video, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.